This is Reverend Joy, and right now I have a short message about names. My own sons, as well as people around me, have been, well, weirded out by legal name changes. I've had more than one. And yeah, I'd like to talk about why. Because I do. I want my sons to know, because it's something they would never think to ask, particularly if someone in a place of authority tells them something. They may not ask me if it's true. I've changed my name legally, but I've never used more than one name at a time. I only had, well, in order to get a new driver's license, I always turned an old one in at any of the few states I've lived. And I've only had one social security number. And I am worried because I do feel that a habitual criminal has a name similar to a name I've used, and they've been using my identity. But with all the names I've had, I have FBI clearance letters that agree with how I feel. I know that I deserve to be protected, not exploited. How did my first name change happen? I got married. After I was divorced, or while I was divorced, I used that same name and I got married again in a different state. Then I did convert to Hinduism. So I took a Sanskrit name for my first name. Then later, as a family of four, that same Hindu last name was changed to something more more like Hindu names than the Islamic names. Even though our family wasn't Islamic or Muslim, we were prosecuted for just being alive and being in the US after the events of the terrorist act of 9/11. And then also with that name change, I changed my first name into a shortened version. I regret not listening to Spirit that day when God told me, yelled at me, choose a different name. Because I feel my biggest identity theft has pursued me since that name change with a family of four, because she didn't show up. And while I don't have the resources to know if she was in jail or not, I don't know why anyone would pay $400 for a name change and not show up. But the thing is, even if you change your name, the names mean nothing. They're kind of irrelevant. Also, with that same name change, I had a PC stolen when I lived in Phoenix. It had scanned documents, birth certificates, marriage certificates, social security cards, and probably other saved things on that stolen PC, including, yeah, just a little bit of Bitcoin. Would be worth a lot of money now, 10 years later. So, yes, I've had a final name change as of today. I returned to a variation of my maiden name before I left Phoenix, because I wanted to make sure I was not confused for that criminal after I left Phoenix, because I knew they would keep that computer and use it and print out. And hey, documents like that are money for people that need an identity. Like me and my three sons had no criminal history, no problems. and that made our identities valuable. But names can be faked, documents can be changed, fingerprints don't change, behavior doesn't change with a name change, credentials don't change. If they have, then a false identity should be assumed. In my case, behavior and conduct never changed much for me after I became a mother. My children never changed the fact that they have special needs. And it is because they have autism. And often the autism centers receive a little bit of bad information, and suddenly I face a stone wall getting my children services. And I know it's because of a mistaken identity. The thing about names, all that we are isn't permanent. We are only given a short span in a physical body, but our eternal souls have no limitations. They have nothing, but yet too often people are attached so much to a name, a country, things that do not last. I I hope that to end Kali Yuga, people become more in mind of our cosmic eternal nature that considers all earth our home, all cultures and religion as being the same for as oneself, because the loss of the artificial barriers of country, culture, race, religion, or time could heal the world. Because the soul is unlimited. The soul is not limited by that. I believe in reincarnation. So I know that if we have great hate, we come back as what we hate because it's all that we paid attention to in our life. So God indulges our request. So I feel I want my sons to know, no matter what they're told after I'm gone and they don't remember, that I was a good mother. I didn't change my name to deceive anyone. I didn't have to move from state to state to keep them from being taken by children and families. I was a good mother with every breath of my being. I was there for them. So I hope that my message on names helped you, because it doesn't matter what your name is. God is still the same. God still loves you the same, no matter who you are. And I will have other messages about the meanings of Sanskrit and explaining how our names were chosen. It takes a Jyotish, a Vedic astrologer, to provide guidance. And I do. I wish you peace and love. And I am your metaphysician, or your mother, depending on who's listening right now. I love you, Reverend Joy.